Hey everybody, I'm going to do a Photoshop tutorial today on changing the size of your image, cropping your image and straightening it, and using some of those selection tools. Um, Now before you guys have been using Lightroom. Now this is where having a Chromebook and having a normal computer is going to be a little bit different. If you have a normal computer, and you've already gone through the other lessons, you should have already installed Adobe Photoshop. If you don't have a normal computer, there's actually an app or a website that you can use to edit your images for free. It's called Pixlr, Pixlr.com, and the program is kind of similar to Adobe Photoshop. So I'm going to try to keep the stuff that I teach within those constraints, because Pixlr is really great, but not gonna lie, Photoshop is pretty awesome and you can do a lot more stuff with Photoshop than you can do with Pixlr. Regardless, you definitely can do change the image size, crop your image, and use some selection tools with Pixlr. First things first, if you haven't done this already, you need to go and download the image off of the assignment page. As soon as you download it, you need to open up Photoshop. So I'm on a Mac. It's going to be different on whatever computer you're using. But if you have issues, you guys, remember you got to communicate with me, because I can't help you, especially online, if you're not actually telling me you need help. So I'm on a Mac computer. This is not the image that I had you guys use. Sorry. I'm gonna go open it. Oops. I'll talk about that in a minute. 330. Okay. So I have been doing some baking with all this time that we've had stuck at home. And I made my own croissant dough, which is super challenging if you've ever tried it. Only in the way that it takes forever. Like, you have to fold the dough, put it in the fridge, wait 30 minutes, fold it again, put it in the fridge, wait 30 minutes. It's a long process. Took me about 2 days to make it. But anyway, after I made my dough, I made some chocolate croissants, as seen in the picture. Now, one more reminder with Pixlr. Those of you using Pixlr, you're going to use Pixlr E. And honestly, if you're using Photoshop, you could always test out Pixlr too, because that's something that, good to try different things. So the first thing I wanted to show you guys is how to change the size of the image. One thing about Pixlr is, and I know it didn't just happen, but that's because I've already opened this image before. As soon as you open the image, it actually asks you what size you want the image to be. Now, as far as image size, you need to think about a couple of things. What is the image going to be used for? Is this image going to be printed? That's what you got to think about. So I am going to use this image for my website. Regardless, this is how you change the image size. Now, unfortunately, okay, let me back up a little bit. I'm going to talk about the Photoshop area you guys are going to be working in, or what's called the workspace. Over here on the left-hand side, you have your tools. If you right-click on each of these, it might have multiple tools that fit within that category. Up here, right here, you've got your options. Basically, any tool that you use is going to have a different set of options. And notice as I click through the different tools, each of the options for that tool is actually changing. Unfortunately, you can't see this because I'm on a Mac, and this screencasting program that I'm using only captures like a certain amount of the screen. But at the very top of your Photoshop window, you should see something that says File, Edit, Image, Layer, Type, Select, etc. These are your different menus that you have to work with. Over here on the right hand side, you've got your panels. Some panels that you're going to want to work with regularly are, oops, not that one. Your layers panel. Mine wasn't showing, so I went to go make it visible. That one's really important because if you ever want to like cut something out of your image and like layer it, you have to have your layers panel or else it's not going to work the way you want it to. So layers, the other one that's really helpful is your history panel. And I'm going to actually talk about this more a little later because basically this is a collection of all the edits that you've made. Right now I haven't done anything to the picture. I've only opened it. So yeah, I'm going to start editing and then I'll show you guys that later and kind of you can see what happens when I come to it. So changing the size of your image. Again, based off of what you're going to use it for. Internet, right? You're going to save it for a website or something like that. Or you're going to edit it and then print it out. A reminder that your image quality is based off of what's called your image resolution. So resolution is basically how clear your picture is. Having a pixelated image, let's see if I can show you actually. Okay, I've gotten super close on my image. Notice how it's made up of a bunch of tiny little squares. These are actually pixels. And basically the more that you have in an image, the higher quality your image is going to be. So, for a web image, you want 72 pixels per inch or dots per inch. For a printed image, it's 200 or 300. Hold on, here we go. Basically your screen resolution, literally the size of your screen, right, is measured in what's called PPI or pixels per inch. Print resolution is measured in DPI or dots per inch. And then this is what I was talking about. You want the resolution for web to be 72 PPI. That's your standard web resolution. Whereas your print, here it is. Print resolution, why is it not here? $300. Oh, it was 100 off. Sorry, guys. You actually want your print resolution to be 300 DPI. So back to Photoshop or Pixlr, whichever you're using. You're going to go to the image menu up at the top, and then you're going to select image size. Now it's going to pull up a new window. This is actually a huge image. I should have made it smaller, but whatever. Let's make it smaller now. Make that a little easier. You generally don't need a picture that's 83 inches by 55 inches. That's massive and unnecessary. Now, I want to adjust the resolution because what if I do want to print this image? So I'm going to put it to 300 PPI. But then I'm also going to change the size because, like I said, that's going to be way too big if I leave it that way. Now over here, leave this as is, because what's going to happen when I adjust the width, let's say I'm going to do 10 inches for my width. Yeah, that's pretty good. Once I put in that width, the height just automatically adjusts. I don't have to even go in and change the height or anything because it already did it. this is really good because it'll also change like the amount of space it takes up on your computer. One problem that I've had my photography students have to deal with is saving their pictures, either like, let's say you went to the school and you wanted your picture home. If you had a high quality image and you're trying to save that on your Google Drive or something, it's going to be kind of hard because it's going to take forever because it's a really large image when it's high quality. Anyway, this top image size number, that's talking about how much space it's taking up on your computer. For some websites, like if you're going to upload an image onto a website, it needs to be under 10 megabytes, which this wouldn't be good enough if that were the case. But anyway, after you've adjusted your size, hit OK. Ta-da! Your image size has been changed. I'm going to zoom in because the next thing we're going to do is straighten / crop this image. To zoom in, you can go to this little zoom button and basically you zoom in to where you want to be. I actually like using what's called the keyboard shortcut. So with your keyboard shortcuts, to zoom in or out, it's Command plus and Command minus, and you just hit Command plus and it automatically, like, it's just easier. It's a habit for me at this point. Anyway, cropping and straightening. Now, I actually, for the most part, like the crop of this image. However, notice how the plate is tilted almost. I'm going to actually straighten that a little bit. So your crop tool looks like this. This will be the same with Pixlr too. The crop tool, basically all of these symbols are going to be the same no matter what app you're using because, I don't know, they just wanted to make it all the same. Use the crop tool to rotate your image. You hover your mouse on the outside and notice how it puts like this grid on your picture. That's good because this is how I can actually check to see, oh, am I actually making this plate straight? This is also good for like if you have landscape pictures and you've got a sunset in the background, you can use that straighten to straighten the like horizon in the background. Anyway, straighten that out to what you want it to be by hovering your mouse outside of the box and you just click and drag. And then if you want to crop it, which I don't want to crop it too much because I actually like the crop how it is right now, you just click and drag on either the corner or on the edges. Once you're done, hit enter or return. Ta-da! Your crop is finished. Okay, so I'm going to talk about selection tools next. However, I'm about to run out of time on this first tutorial because I have a 15-minute limit. So, catch you guys in the next video.